Good evening. Welcome to the mid-monthly Tribal Council meeting. The meeting this evening is being held at its regular scheduled time. This morning we held our rescheduled regular meeting. This evening we'll have an agenda with minutes and a few added items. Before we do that, I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5:03. Brian, would you say our blessing for us, please?
Sure. And then the same way I'll pray silently and I'll let you know when I'm done. Thank you, Tori.
Thank you, Brian, for that blessing, and thank you, Council and Winnebago tribal members, for joining us this evening. I think every day is a blessing, and as we find hardship in our community, I think we're really appreciative that we wake up and start another day. So thank you for our tribal leaders tonight as we start the tribe's business. Under reading of the minutes, there's an addition. Number 3 is the March 15th, 21 regular TC minutes. Under new business, we have a enrollment resolution and number 2 relinquishments. Under tribal council items, we have some additions. Number 1, mileage to Lincoln for Governor Ricketts meeting. Number 2, WCHS board appointment. Number 3, Enrollment Committee appointments. Number 4, LPTC Board of Directors appointment. Number 5, Winnebago's second PPP loan application. And number 6, 638 planning grant regarding law enforcement. Are there any other additions to the agenda? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion by Brian. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Louis to approve the agenda as amended. Any objection, any discussion? Objection to the motion? Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the March 8th, 2021 land meeting minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Eric. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second by Louis. Discussion. Objection to the motion. Motion carried 800. Our second set of minutes are for the March 8th, 2021 Special Gaming Commission meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Coley. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Brian. Discussion. Objection to the motion. Motion carried 800. Our third set of minutes are for the March 15th, 21 regular TC meeting.
Motion to approve March 15th regular TC meeting.
Motion by Coley, second.
Second.
With second by Eric. Discussion. Objection to the motion. Motion carried 800. We ratified the 5 signatures this morning. So under new business, we have a resolution. You would have gotten an email from Tyresha this afternoon with the added materials for enrollment and the committees. So in the packet, what will the resolution number be, Lorelei? What will the resolution number be, Lorelei, for the tribal enrollment applicants?
It will be 2171.
2171. Okay, Council, in your packet, you have a resolution for tribal enrollment applicants A3620. Noted, they're not in particular order, so down to A3677. Is there a motion to adopt resolution 21-71?
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion by Brian. Do we have a second by Rona? Discussion. Discussion. Thelma.
Okay, as we're looking at that, it says the Winnebago blood, other blood, and total. So when we're using other Indian blood, shouldn't the total be 1/4 for enrollment purposes?
It is my understanding that if they're adding other Indian blood, it is only to be to meet the minimum quantity. So for 3/8, they would so they would be adding a fourth, or they'd be adding an eighth of their other blood to make pretty much 2/4 Winnebago blood. I mean 2/8, which would be 1/4. So I don't quite have the answer to your question because right here it says 3/8. So do we have somebody from enrollment on the phone? Because that shows the total, but to my understanding, they only are trying to meet the minimum threshold of 1/8, or excuse me, 1/4. But that's a good question.
Yes.
This is Sherry. Can you hear me?
Hi, Sherry. Yeah.
Well, we just put in the total of everything. We are finding out that there's some of the blood that's in there that wasn't listed before. And we're having trouble with that for past people. This is just the total, but if you want it to come out, the resolution to where it comes out to just that fourth, I can put it like that. This is just including where their blood is when it comes in. Like if it's Omaha, they send me a CIB of how much blood that is, and I just list that on here.
Okay. And thank you, Sherry, for that, because I know that was being responsive to council members' requests that they wanted the other Indian blood to see how much of other Indian blood it was. So thank you for including that. But for our purposes of enrollment, that person would only be the 1/4 minimum, right?
Correct.
Okay. Are you okay with that, Thelma? Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions or discussion points? Objection to the motion. Motion carried 800. Thanks, Sherry. So our next item are the conditional relinquishments. Do those need to be done individually, Sherry, or can they're both separate names, separate?
No, they can be in the same one.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept conditional relinquishment for Jeremy Roberts and Ariana Yellowbank?
So moved.
There's a motion by Louis. We have a second. Who is that second? Eric?
Yes.
Okay. Discussion. Objection to the motion. Motion carried 800. Okay, that brings us on
Madam
to,
Chair, Madam
Yes.
Chair. I just feel a moment, I want to take a moment to celebrate our new tribal members. It's a good feeling, and I want to say thank you to the enrollment office and to the tribal council. Thank you.
definitely. Thank you, everyone. These are some happy parents and kids. Thank you, Lorelei, for acknowledging that. So our next item under new business, we have the first item, Governor Ricketts. A couple months ago, there was discussion to set up a meeting with Governor Ricketts and to improve our state relationships, and that all the things that the tribe has going on, that it would be worth our while to start strengthening those relationships on the state level. And and those folks could having an impact or some type of force for what we have coming in our economic development activities, and that we would want to just make sure that we had open communication and commitments to work through hurdles if we came upon any of those. So Brian and I had asked for a meeting, and it took a couple months to get that meeting. And if you remember, when we were in our special gaming meeting, I stepped out because the scheduler had called me back. And so we jumped at the opportunity and had a Friday afternoon discussion with Governor Ricketts. What we asked for was for more communication and an opportunity to share, of course, our success as well as our hardships if we ever encountered those. The governor was very gracious and welcoming to that open communication, and we even set up quarterly meetings. And so we'll see what that schedule looks like when it comes down to actually scheduling it. But we have a commitment to have better and improved communication. And so I'm asking the council for mileage for Brian and I's trip to Lincoln that was on March 12th.
I'll make a motion to approve the mileage for the chair and the vice chair
We
to
have a
Lincoln on Friday, March 12th, 21.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Objection to the motion. Brian objects.
Abstain, Madam Chair.
Abstain. Okay. So all those in favor say yes or raise your hand of the motion.
Yes.
Louis, Lorelei, John, Rona. No.
Before I vote, what was the date on it? I think
It was
Lorelei said March 12th.
March 12th. It was last Friday, so we already went. So I'm asking for mileage for our trip we already went on.
Okay.
And since we didn't have a meeting, we just went. So no. Abstentions. Brian. Thelma and Eric, I didn't get your vote. Abstain? No? Okay. Eric, would you? No? Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 1. Motion carried. I'm missing somebody. 5, 2, 1. Motion carried. The second order of business is the WCHS board appointments. We have 3 applicants for the WCHS board, all great applicants. 2 of the applicants are former employees, and per the bylaws, you have to wait 3 years before you're eligible to be a board member. So we have 1 eligible candidate. Is there a motion to approve that candidate?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Okay.
So that candidate is Darla Lapointe. So we have a motion to appoint Darla Lapointe to the WCH Board of Directors. And who is that second from?
Eric.
Eric, thank you, Eric. Discussion.
No, when Myram, Nika's in there. He can help.
Objection to the motion. Motion carried 8-0-0. Our second committee, all our committees are important, but this has been a really pending issue, is our Enrollment Committee. And so we have 5 applicants. Thank you to all those for applying. And excuse me, we have 6 applicants and we have 5 seats. Is there a motion to appoint committee members to the Enrollment Committee? Thelma.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Natalie Earth.
We have a motion to appoint Natalie Earth. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
We have a second by Eric. Discussion. Objection to the motion. Motion carried. Natalie Earth is seated.
Motion to appoint Daphne Evans.
We have a motion by Brian Chamberlain to appoint Daphne Evans. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Louis. Discussion. Objection to the motion. Motion carried 800. Third seat.
Motion to appoint Tyresha Wolf.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have second by Louis. Discussion. Objection to the motion. Motion carried 800. Fourth seat.
Motion to appoint Danielle Green.
We have a motion by Rona to appoint Danielle Green. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Brian. Discussion. Objection to the motion. Motion carried 800. The fifth and
Mo-
final seat.
Motion to appoint Danae Vargas.
Objection.
Oh, wait.
Victoria,
Thelma,
I object.
you object to Danielle?
Yes.
Okay, let me back it up. Oh, sorry about that. So we got one objection. All those in favor of Danielle Green with yes, raise your hand or say yes. Lorelei, Louis, Coley, John, Rona, Brian. Opposed? 2. Six, 2-0. Motion passed. Motion carried.
Motion to appoint Danae Vargas.
Motion to appoint Danae Vargas by Brian. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Rona. Discussion. Objection to the motion. Motion carried 800. The next committee is Little Priest Tribal College, and we have 2 applicants. I didn't read the applicants before. I apologize. The applicants for the Little Priest Tribal College Board of Directors is Miscou Petit and Aaron Lapointe. Is there a motion to appoint an applicant? Thelma.
I'll make a motion to appoint Ms. School.
We have a motion by Thelma to appoint Miscou. Do we have a second? A second by Brian. Discussion. Objection to the motion. Motion carried. Okay, objection. We got an objection. All those in favor of Miscou.
Madam Chair, I just gotta abstain.
Yep. So all those in favor of Miscou, yes, raise your hand. We got Rona, Brian, Thelma, Coley, Eric, John, Louis. Opposed, abstentions. 1. So we've got 7-0-1. Motion carried. Thank you, Council. Our next order of business is our Winnebago PPP loan application, round 2. Mayan had reached out and wanted to have this approved. Is there a motion to approve Winnebago's second PPP loan application?
So moved.
We have a motion by Brian. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Rona.
I just have a question, Madam.
Okay,
Do
discussion.
we need this by
Lorelei.
resolution? Do we need this by resolution for the
I don't-
bank?
I'm not sure. Did you guys have to do resolutions for the first round of PPP applications? Do you recall?
There, no, but I don't know how the different, were the rules the same? I don't know. That's my only point.
Thelma, do you recall doing resolutions for the first round of PPP loans this summer?
I don't think we did.
Okay.
I don't think we did.
I don't believe so based on those that were around for the first round. So what we can circle back if we need to, but I really don't have certain answer, Lorelei.
Okay, so the second was by who?
Rona.
Okay.
Any further comments or discussion? Objection to the motion. Motion carried 800. Our last item is for 638 planning. It's been discussed several times and over the years, and I think it seems to flare up during different times of year or different topics, but I had been talking with Eric about law enforcement and some of the things that former Chairman White had done to do some initial legwork and had sought out some technical assistance to find out how about going about doing that. And so when Eric and I were talking about that this morning, I said the first thing that we would have to do if the tribe was seriously considering that is we'd have to go after a planning grant, similar to what we did with the hospital. Like, you get a planning grant to determine if you want to do that. It doesn't mean you have to. You see if it's feasible for you, and but it's a whole process, and it would include applying for one of those planning grants that you get all your expenses reimbursed. So so with that, we added it to the agenda for discussion. Eric, did you want to make any comments about that?
Yes, Chairman, thank you. When we were talking about that, you know, since I've been on council and within this last year, we've had a few murders and some pretty violent assaults on our community members, and we've brought this to the BIA law enforcement's attention, and we're still going through what we did like this last year, and within this last month we've had another one of those situations and took one of our family enrolled members from us untimely. And so I think it would just make sense to start looking into avenues of 638ing and going to a tribal police office department. It would just be local. We wouldn't have to be driving to Lake Andes or Sioux Falls or taking our enrolled members anywhere off our reservation. And we might even be able to consolidate some of our buildings, like the police station and the courts, depending on what kind of building that we can get if we choose to go this way or purchase. And there's just a lot of little things that I think is kind of hindering us. You know, we have violence, domestic violence, just violence in general. We have a lot of drugs within our reservation that we just can't seem to get a grip on through the courts, or however that may go through our laws, that we need to fix that as well, and just maybe go through it and redo everything for that in the 638 process. You know, and we also have some of our enrolled members that are looking at self-inflicting harm or death to themselves. That, you know, we have to look at all these. And I think one of the biggest things that sticks out to me, since I've been on council, we've been informing our police department that we need more officers. We need more officers. If we take somebody to the hospital, our officer has to stay with them and they have to call another officer in. We have officers that are getting ready to throw the towel in. And so, just because of the work overload that they're looking at. And so I think we would be this would be a really good point to look into. And as it's been said, we don't have to follow through with it, but just look at it as an option for financial ability, financial help. And so I would really like for us to look into this, because it's been something that's been talked about, and it's affected a lot of our families directly in one way or another: drugs, self-infliction, alcohol, violence. And so I just like to say about that much. And you know, that could probably be a long discussion or whatever that would be, but I'll just say about that much. That's where I stand with that, and I just think we should really look into that. Thank you. So I'd like to, Chairwoman, I'd like to make a motion that we for Joy Johnson to research a planning grant for this option here.
Okay, we have a motion by Eric to direct the planning department to research and apply for, is that for a planning grant for law enforcement, for 638 and law enforcement? Does that capture your motion, Eric?
Yes, thank you.
Is there a second?
Second,
We have a second by Thelma.
Second.
Discussion.
Are we asking for a federal planning grant or a grant that we do?
It would be a planning grant from the Office of Self-Governance.
So we wouldn't be asking the committee to do it. We would ask for a planning grant to do it. The planning will be done under the grant.
Yes. So similar to when we took over the hospital, we applied for a planning grant. And so we had 200, I think it might have been close to, I don't know, I don't want to misspeak how much it was, but it was what we paid for everyone's time. It was a reimbursement, and all the time that everyone took from the organization, the attorney fees, the media, just everything you could think of that goes into the endeavor, the financial analysis, we were reimbursed by keeping track of those costs.
I have no other questions.
Okay, thanks, Loy. Any further comments? Is there, let's see, with no further comments, is there objection to the motion? Oh, Lorelai.
Madam Chair, don't we have to say we intend to 638 and we'll seek a planning grant?
No, you
Don't
get
we have to state that we intend?
you get the planning grant, and then from there you decide if you're going to do it. And then from the moment that you send a letter to the agency that you're going to pursue either contracting or compacting, the agency has 90 days to respond to you.
Okay.
Any further comments? Objection to the motion? By passing this motion, it doesn't in any way commit the tribe to doing anything. It means that we would like to apply for a grant so that we can look at doing this. Without objection, motion carried 8-0-0. To back it up, there I did get a little intel that we do need a resolution for the PPP loan application. So in the meantime, Mayan did send that and I opened it up. And so if the council is okay with it, then that resolution would be 21-72, or what was the last one? Rolla? 72. So this one would be 21-72. Does the council want to modify the previous motion, or do you want to make a new motion?
We can just go I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2172.
Okay, we have a
That way
motion.
it's clear.
Okay, thank you, Brian. We have a motion by Brian to adopt resolution 21-72. Is there a second?
Second,
We have a second by Louis. Discussion. Objection to the motion. Oh, Rona.
Oh, I was trying to read it through real quickly. This is the same as the previous one? The first round?
I don't know what's different in here. Do we have either Mayan or maybe Alan on the phone? I didn't see the first one, so I don't know what's different, but when I went through reading it, I was looking at the end.
Is there,
The-
you mean dollar amount, Rona?
No, I mean the whole wording of it. I'm just reading through and looking at it, and I was just looking at the limited. Council approves the limited waiver of sovereign immunity.
So
I'm
it's
not
like,
sure what if. Yeah, I'm just looking at all the way through. I'm glancing through it and looking at all the different things. So if this is what was approved before and it's no different, but then Thelma said they didn't have a resolution. So
let me just, I was texting with mine. Let me just ask.
and if it's the same, yeah. But if it's different. Because we're also going to be authorizing the general manager, the chief financial officer at Winnebago, and the chief financial officer at the tribe to open a new bank account.
It's identical and based on the first resolution with new dates.
Okay.
So this is the same criteria and the same program of the first round. It's following the same format.
Alrighty. Well, if it's the same, that's what they did before.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments? Holy.
I was almost gonna go back and change my vote on the first one to,
Okay.
but I didn't because I thought we needed it. Because I couldn't remember. And it almost seemed right that we needed a resolution. And with this resolution that we're approving, it's not the real one. It's a copy of our last one. I think we should get that written up and drafted, and then we should approve that one. That's my comment. That's what I think.
Thanks, Coley. So the one we have is the new one. So that's all that changed is the dates. So it's exactly like the first round of resolution that it's the same resolution with new dates that was approved with round one Winnebago application. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah. Okay, I see it. I'm looking on my phone right now.
So I apologize. I wish that we would have had this in front of you so you would have had a chance to read it, but it was sent by email and barely forwarded to council. So I apologize for that. So we have.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
It probably is. So I'm good to go.
Okay. Any objection to the motion? Motion carried 800. Well, that brings us to the end of our agenda, council. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Eric, second by Brian to adjourn at 5:36. Objection? Without objection, we are adjourned. Motion carried 800. Thank you, council. Have a good evening.